I hate crypto YouTube so much. I haven't wanted to engage with it directly, but the other day a friend sent me a video that made me so angry that I cannot let this stand. I wanted to make this video to help good people understand how to spot quote unquote bad crypto advice so that you're protected from bad crypto bros. Okay, so first I'm gonna share specifically why I hate crypto YouTube and crypto talk, my background, because anyone discussing this topic should make their background known. Then I'll share 4 questions to ask yourself to help evaluate if what a crypto social media person is saying is legit. Lastly, I'll talk about what I think the crypto market is doing heading into the end of 2025. In 2020, I made a TikTok about how Bitcoin was about $15,000 at that time. And I thought, based on my experience, that there was a likelihood that it could go back up to break its previous all-time highs. Its all-time highest price about 3 years ago was near $20,000 a coin. So it's approaching its all-time highs right now. The people that have made money in Bitcoin so far have been mostly huge douchebags, and I don't want those people to be the ones to continue getting rich in cryptocurrency. How are we gonna define what a crypto bro actually is? I'm defining a crypto bro as someone who showcases the worst aspects of dystopian capitalistic greed. These people are mostly men, but there are also female pick-me crypto bros, and a hallmark, regardless of gender, is high levels of toxic masculine energy. I had like 70 followers before that TikTok went kind of viral for me, and I ended up talking about cryptocurrency on TikTok a lot. I don't know that I was the first person on TikTok to discuss cryptocurrency regularly. Probably not, because I didn't have a TikTok account until 2019. But I do know that I didn't see anyone else discussing it when I first started to do so on that platform. But there were problems. As that account grew on TikTok, I shared in various videos about how I started buying Bitcoin at $90 a coin in 2013, how I used to be a pro stock trader in Chicago and briefly on Wall Street before I quit, because misogyny and misofem are endemic to the current economic system. So when I first discovered Bitcoin, y'all, I was so excited about the technology's potential to allow us to rebuild the economic system, to create something new and reimagined that did not discriminate and gatekeep in the way the old economic system does. And I later used that blockchain technology to found Seeds, which empowers generous people to build abundance through giving. When you help someone through the ecosystem, you get an equal or greater value of seeds and thanks. So that makes it monetarily of no cost to you. But if and when seeds go up in value, you can actually build wealth because you were kind. Now, you probably haven't heard of Seeds, even though at this point it's been around for a long ass time. And the primary reason Seeds isn't bigger and better known is the same systemic misogyny in late stage capitalism that Seeds as an organization was founded in the first place to address. We haven't had anywhere near the resources that some of the worst, scammiest crypto projects have had, because venture capital, the terrible sector that powers tech with investment, invests around 1% of its total funding in female founded organizations. So venture capital is a trash dump because it's discriminatory as fuck. But on top of that, I would say there are maybe 50 to 200 total VC on earth who are actually good at their jobs. Everybody else is chasing the same deals. So as a sector, it just cannot and should not sustain. And so in the face of that, TikTok, especially when TikTok was fun and good in like 2020 to 2021, was a way to share about Seeds with like-minded people and hopefully reach them. And the whole reason I talked about cryptocurrency in general at all on the platform was to uplift Seeds. In 2019, I saw that cryptocurrency as a sector was like recognized enough in the mainstream that I could leverage, my background as a pro Wall Street trader who started buying Bitcoin in 2013 to share a course, because more and more people recognize that maybe they should start paying attention to cryptocurrency because it could help them. The course is called How to Build Abundance in Cryptocurrency. I still teach a version of it every year. And because it's $2,500 and you get $2,500 in seeds when you join, that makes the course effectively free. So all of this was about reaching more people so that we can transcend the prison of late stage capitalism through a new ecosystem that rewards giving and creates a bigger pie for all involved. But crypto bros stole that narrative. And it is so frustrating, y'all. Like, I felt like I was trapped between a rock and a hard place because there were also problems with short form and TikTok's algorithm generally. I started to find that even my mutuals on TikTok thought I was just promoting cryptocurrency as a whole. They weren't even aware that I was doing it because I wanted to uplift Seeds. And then at the same time, there were these bad actors in the sector. And this was like, especially in 2022 with FTX's downfall, a lot of bad news about these bad crypto bros. And that made it virtually impossible to get through that noise to be like, yo, the technology itself is a tool. A tool can be used for good or for evil. Seeds is using it for good, and here is how. So I realized I should turn my focus to long form videos on YouTube, which is better, I would say overall, but the general crypto bro problem still remains. On top of that, I genuinely have yet to see a crypto bro YouTuber, and again, this encapsulates genders, it's an energy, who is reputable and humble and also consistently good at talking about crypto. Who isn't somebody who got involved because they heard about the benefits of crypto in 2020 in a bar and now they position themselves as an authority, even if they're sharing information that is dubious in a lot of cases at best. And that makes me furious. It makes me feel like I really need to try to protect everyone from that bad behavior. So I hate crypto YouTube. But now let's break down what exactly makes crypto YouTube bad. Number one, is the person speaking in absolutes? So hopefully this is needless to say, but if a person is reputable, if they have some knowledge to share in a certain sector, they'll share why they have a specific idea, how they arrived at that idea. They'll cite sources and they'll say, you know, I might be wrong, but this is why I think what I think. Please evaluate it and, you know, only do what's right for you. The video that made me so angry, and as a side note, if you want me to actually break down this video and why I found the arguments to be dubious, I will do that because I think this should be specifically called out. If you'd like to see that, let me know in the comments. In the video that made me so angry, the creator opened with an absolute statement. Something like, you're gonna thank me for this video or else you're gonna wish you watched it twice. And it's just like, how do you know? How do you know with such certainty that the argument that you're sharing is in fact correct? How are you leaving no question as to whether or not it's even possible that maybe it's imperfect, that maybe it's flawed? What is the motivation of the person sharing the quote unquote advice? Are they primarily trying to get views? And if so, is that, you know, nudging them into making a more controversial argument in some way? Is it influencing the quality of the argument in some way? Are they doing it because they want to get rich? Okay, that's not bad in and of itself, but being aware of the motivation can help shine a light as to why a person is taking a certain perspective and sharing it. How early did the person get involved in cryptocurrency? Probably needless to say, this is relevant because the earlier someone got involved, the better they were at spotting an opportunity when it looked less and less likely to be, you know, as huge as it ended up being. When I started buying Bitcoin in 2013, that was not considered early at that time. Bitcoin first started to exist in January of 2009. I made a whole video about the history of cryptocurrency. If you want to check that out, I think it gives some good information about how the cycles have played out over time. But that said, and please let me know if you found other people who were involved at that time or before. I personally never come across anyone on social media who is talking about it on YouTube or TikTok who did buy Bitcoin, you know, in 2013 or before. I also don't know of a single person off the top of my head who used to be a pro trader like I was. The person who made the video that made me so angry apparently is a former nutritionist who did literally learn about the benefits of crypto in a bar in 2020. And the thing with that is, like, first of all, like, why were you in a bar in peak COVID? And then it was just like so much about the argument that they made that I found to be flawed, full of like logical fallacies, came from there. That doesn't mean, even if somebody has a background that seems entirely unrelated to the sector now, smart people move into different sectors. They learn information about new things. That doesn't by definition mean that they don't know what they're talking about. And even a quote unquote bad crypto bro YouTuber may have information that is useful some of the time, but we have to use discernment. For example, in this video that made me so angry, the creator mentions they look at like App Store download data because if Coinbase becomes the #1 trending app in the App Store in the US, that may be an indicator that there's a lot of interest and that prices may be nearing highs. I think that that is a worthwhile piece of data to pay attention to. We just want to be careful about evaluating these arguments so we can see how the creator arrived at the conclusion they're sharing, to be sure that we ourselves agree. And when I'm talking about evaluating an argument, I mean doing so using your own critical thinking skills, your own logic, doing your own research to check the veracity of their sources, but it's equally important to use your intuition. If something somebody's sharing just doesn't feel quite right, if it doesn't resonate with both your intuition and your understanding, you shouldn't do it. You should only do what truly feels right for you. And I think that goes for certainly not only cryptocurrency or money generally, but for everything, for anything in life. So historically, what is called the Bitcoin halving event, that's been the catalyst to kick off a market cycle. They happen roughly every 4 years. We just had the 4th one on April 20th. Give or take, depending on where you are in the world, of 2024. What we've seen in the past is that the calendar year following a halving event, at the very end of that year, things have gone crazy. That's happened every cycle to date. And obviously we're coming up on the end of the 2025 calendar year right now. So that said, I'm personally loading up on the cryptocurrencies I believe in. I'm even going so far as to leverage my capital to make it more efficient. But it's also important to note that this cycle is different. And the main reason was the introduction of a Bitcoin ETF, exchange traded fund, in January of 2024, 3 months before the most recent halving event even took place. The Bitcoin ETF, which is essentially like a Bitcoin stock, which rests on Bitcoin's value, because that became available and people that were mainstream investors who maybe hadn't messed around with Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency in the past, maybe they were more risk averse, suddenly they had this familiar vehicle to garner them a form of exposure. And of course, whenever there are more people who are suddenly able to get exposure in an asset, whether it's a cryptocurrency or something else, that's probably going to drive the prices up. And it totally did. And the result was that Bitcoin was making new all-time highs even sooner than expected, even before the halving took place. A lot of institutionals also got involved, hedge funds and so forth. And that has done a lot to stabilize Bitcoin's price. It used to be so crazy volatile, y'all. Like I said, I was buying it at $90 a coin in 2013. In that trade, I sold what I owned at about $1,100 a coin in January. I was buying at 90 in October. I sold at 1,100 in January. It's like a 12x return. It was a great trade. I made an even more profitable trade in a cheaper cryptocurrency Litecoin, which got me about 42x. Historically, cheaper cryptocurrencies can get us even higher percentage returns, but I talk more about that in other videos. What I'm trying to say is that Bitcoin is kind of boring now. In a relative sense, it's much more stable. It seems to just be kind of reliably going up. And heading into 26, we'll see if that continues. I suspect that it might. Whereas in past cycles, we'd see this big run up at the end of the calendar year, the year after halving. Again, that's going to be the end of 2025 in this cycle. But I'm wondering if Bitcoin might not continue up after that as well. That said, Ether, the number 2 cryptocurrency by market capitalization, has been weirdly suppressed this cycle. It still hasn't broken its all-time highs. So I'm wondering if there might be a significant rally heading into the end of 2025, as has been the case in the past. In the last cycle, I started really loading up on Ether between like March to May of 2020. I'd owned it for years before, but I tried to get in as much as I could at that time because it dropped down to nearly $100. So I was able to catch a good chunk of it near lows. And when it went up to all-time highs in 2021, that was over $4,800 a coin. So that was a close to 48x trade, which was sick. And that's relevant because right now, as I'm recording this, we haven't even broken those all-time highs at all. But if it goes up to 15K, that's only quote unquote, a 3x increase over its previous all-time highs of nearly 5,000 a coin. 3x is a lot less than what we'd seen in previous cycles, but it makes a number like 15,000 or maybe even 20,000 seem potentially more achievable. And also the fact that Bitcoin is so much more reliable and sturdy creates new opportunities for us as traders to leverage it in ways that were too dangerous to do before. If you are a person who wants a better world, consider making a gift to help someone through Seeds at the link in the description, and you will receive Seeds cryptocurrency in thanks. And that'll, of course, give you the chance to benefit if and when the prices go up. Again, because you were nice enough to help somebody out when they were in need. I also want to share that cryptocurrency itself is one small part of what I discuss on this channel. The purpose of this channel is about uplifting us through restoring a healthy balance of healthy feminine energy and healthy masculine energy. I think that's been out of whack for a really long time, and that's going to shift in our lifetimes, perhaps very soon. So I talk about things like Vipassana meditation, astrology, ascension of 5D, and I don't know anyone else who's discussing all of those topics along with cryptocurrency and how its technology can be used to create a better world through a project like Seeds. But again, I want to stress that also, I'm not trying to brag or whatever, but I don't know of a single other YouTube social media person, and I don't even want to put myself in that category at all because I'm so grossed out by it, but I don't know of anyone else who has the experience and success as a profitable trader. But like I said, don't just take my word for it. Okay, thank you so much for your time and attention, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.
Oh, look. Oh, cute.